I'm Christian Merriman, I'm Christian Merriman. Hi, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Dragon Riders of the Styx with me, Christian Merriman. Well, I'm kind of disappointed that I wasn't able to get up today. I went to Rounding Third, my usual Thursday night open mic spot on 63rd and Blue Mound in Milwaukee, or maybe Wauwatosa, but why be so specific? Where Jim Routh, Mr. Jim Routh, is the master of ceremonies and the professor and instructor of many students. I currently do not have time in my very, very tight schedule to study with Mr. Routh, Professor Routh. However, perhaps I shall in the future. Nonetheless, as a non-paying student comic, as it were, I was told that it would be quite a long wait in order to get up tonight, and I must be at work early in the morning. If you know, you know. So, I did go on an exciting mission and check out the Milwaukee Improv. And I found out that they also have an open mic on Tuesday nights, which I must sign up for on Monday nights. Monday in the daytime, excuse me. And I will be allowed to use this camera and my props. I spoke with someone at the Milwaukee Improv tonight. I decided to just do it the old-fashioned way and just show up. That's why I wasted a lot of money. Oh well, it's okay. I had a fun little reconnaissance adventure into the world of Milwaukee comedy. We'll see where it goes. But, anyway, I still have all of this acting in my heart that I wish to share with the world, and I also have some unopened action figures as well that I'm pretty excited about. I've been thinking about opening this one for quite some time, waiting for just the moment when I may have the inspiration to make another little action figure unboxing video. And that's what we're doing. Today, we're going to be reviewing my favorite company, Boss Fight Studio Vitruvian Hacks Madame Ruskin, the Dwarf Tavern Keeper. Historical documentation. Dwarves tend to keep to themselves, rarely interacting with humans or elves, except to trade their precious metals and excellent weaponry for meat, grain, and ale. The dwarven underground city of Drum is the closest to the borders of Accord, and the small human village of Middletown acts as a trading post between the two species. Seeing a gap in the market, Madame Ruskin founded her harmless tavern. Why bother naming it when it's the only one within 20 leagues? I almost said minutes because it's so hard to read this font. But actually, it says leagues. I don't really remember how long a league is either, but let's just pretend like we know what that means. She reasoned. Ruskin herself is a font of information. Every scrap of idle tavern talk is noted in her voluminous memory. The tavern itself acts as a kind of clearinghouse for gossip and as a meeting point for travelers from across the lands. Many an adventure has commenced within its four walls and recently completed riverside terrace. Temporal log. In the 50 years since its foundation, the tavern has become justifiably famous for its selection of ales from across the continent. Roaring fire and pack of stray cats who keep a sharp eye out for loose change dropped on the floor or left on a table. There are different menus for dwarves, parentheses, fried rat kebabs, humans, parentheses, hearty stews, bacon, cats eat fancy feast, of course, and interrupt every video with its meowing, doesn't she? Forgive my pronouns, madam. And where was I? You've interrupted me once again. Oh, the food of elves, parentheses, plant-based. Oh, of course. All are delicious, and Madame Ruskin is an expert at pairing the food with an acceptable ale, wine, or bubbling elixir of dubious provenance. She shall pair no wine before its time. Would anyone like to make a movie about Orson Welles when he was old and fat? Call me Christian Merriman. I would be perfect. Thank you. Anyway, let's get down to it. And got my sharp utility scissors here, but I don't know that I'm gonna need them. Ah, I see. Yes, that's it. We're gonna use the scissors to cut away the tape and try to avoid mutilating myself in the process. Can I do it? I'm left-handed, aren't I? Why am I using these with me bloody right hand? One of these days. This is tricky. This is so hard only an American can do it. I think the more British I talk, the more likely I could end up mutilating myself. I could really cut myself. They taped it up real good. Okay, I got the left side open real good. I don't know. Okay, wait. Here. It's maybe the most difficult part. Aha, finally. All right, here we go. It's time for Madame Ruskin to come out of a package. Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you. Look at her. Gorgeous. Lots of cool accessories. All right, we'll start, of course, with the not-so-great new footstand. Now, as I said when I was reading her bio card, she has her own tavern, right? And they serve plenty of good food, especially, some nice stew or soup, as you like, And she doesn't come with a lot of big weapons, but, I've got a lot of extras. I've got everything you could think of. Little swords and spears and battle axes, and you write a message in the comments. What kind of weapon do you think Madame Ruskin should have? She comes with this little tiny knife, which, you could use it in the kitchen. You could chop veggies or meat or something with this. Or, you could cut a SOB if they cross you. Sometimes you just gotta, you're right. gotta defend yourself. Someone invades your tavern. Somebody threatens your little kitty cat, right? In a Dungeons and Dragons world. Imagine, just think about your little kitty cat. You know how I love cats, so I think Madame Ruskin seems pretty cool. Anybody who loves cats is a friend of mine. I like dogs too, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I just think there's a little bit too much work. They're a little bit too much work for me. I need more rest for my back and my legs. It's a long story. All right, she's out of the package. Look at her. Doesn't that look sharp? That is such a cool action figure. I love the hair with the braids. I love the outfit that looks totally ready for any kind of the most extreme weather, right? And whenever I get a new figure, I always want to start flexing up those joints. I'll start with the elbows and the knees, and then that'll kind of indirectly start to pivot those hips and shoulders too, right? And I'll loosen them up so they become more posable. Okay, and she's already, getting those knees flexed out and get the arms, the legs, everything right. And got good little ankle rockers, right? So even though the figure stands don't work so great, generally these figures do stand up pretty well, I would say. I don't have big problems with that. Nothing at all. And so I mentioned in my other video about the Mermex Warriors, right? And I also like this one I got earlier called, I think it's like Barbarian Woman or something like that is what they called that. I put this jacket on her, but it's still basically mostly factory standard. And I gave her that battle axe too, and she has a cool sword I tucked in her belt, And I think it's so cool that we can have some cool people of color, And everyone should feel like, they were in, their ancestors were in the golden age too. Like, of course they were. Everybody of all the different backgrounds was in the Bible. So everybody of all the different backgrounds was all over the Roman Empire. And there were not just Europeans, but Africans and Asians and Semitic people and all kinds of people were in that region where all of our culture comes from. And so this is all actually of one culture, in my opinion. And so we don't need to shoehorn people into Norse mythology when, it's all right there. That's just an ignorance of history and a lack of appreciation for history. So once again, I love the Vitruvian Hacks universe. I love reading the cards in my silly theatrical voice, but I also like, making up my own universe. Wagon Riders of the Styx. Maybe you've seen some of the shorts. I won't say too much. I don't want to spoil the mystery. But, these guys that you see before you, they're going to be a part of the story. And I don't want to rip off their IP. I don't know what I'm going to do exactly with Madame Ruskin's character. But I do know what I'm going to do with her in my diorama. Or maybe I should make that plural, dioramas. Because I happen to already have a little tavern set up. And if you just give me a moment, I think we'll try to take a look and see if maybe the old bartender would like to have the night off. And you can just sit over there on the couch. And we'll get Madame Ruskin's little... Let me sit down here again now. Okay, so I'm going to get her little beer mug and set her up with her beer mug. And open up those little fingies, right? You gotta work it with your little thumbnail a bit. You can get it in there. There you go. Now she can I don't know if she's gonna drink this one herself or if she's serving it to others. But anyway, it's in her hand, and you're gonna put her little blade on her hip. There's a little hole in the side, and it goes in pretty easily. That's nice. Sometimes it's an enormous amount of finger pressure to do that. So that looks pretty sharp, like that, with that knife on her hip. Okay, multi-purpose for a woman such as her. You know, I'm thinking about Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? Remember how Marion was like running a bar in the mountains of Nepal with all these mysterious characters? All right, so it's time to go to the tavern with no name. We're gonna get down here. Hi there. There it is. And Madame Ruskin's in the house. She's already got plenty of interesting customers. You might recognize some of them, or not. Some of them are more customized than others. And this was our original bartender there. And his name is Snafu, by the way. And so I think Madame Ruskin is going to be a new... this bar is under new management, it sounds like. Snafu is going to be going on a sabbatical, perhaps, for 6 months. And I think that'll bring this video to a close as well. Thank you for watching. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. Wagon Riders of the Sticks.